So, you know how we've been told forever that they're here for crops. So, it's not crops. Maybe it's ballot harvesting in sniffs and things like that, but and to collect to be able to get more congressional seats. Everybody knows that, right? That they get more seats with them being
Oh
in
yeah,
their
the congressional apportionment
right.
is something that most people don't even understand. And
Right.
honestly, and you know what's
Sure.
wild too is that even without getting rid of the illegals, just the people who have emigrated like from California, from New York,
Hmm.
Democrats are so screwed in 2032, I think it is.
Hmm.
Um, just based on the American population movement, and that's not even taking into account the amount of illegals that are going to be removed from places like New York and California, Texas, Illinois. Because look, it's going to get to the point
Hmm.
where how would you say this? Texas, Tennessee, Florida are going to comply. So the
Hmm.
illegals are just going to make their way to blue cities. And then basically Tom Homan is going to know exactly where they all are because he's already taken all the bad ones out of Houston. He's taken the bad one, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? They're going to
Hmm.
start to focus. They're going to start to migrate to where they think they're safe. And then a guy like Tom Homan will be able to uh, channel them in a bit.
Hmm. It's a whole system of corruption is the way that whole state is run. And they're all in on it together, and the illegals know it. The illegals know that they are a significant part of the equation. Uh, and that's why they're very kind of arrogant like that and everything, because they know they can pretty much do whatever they want. And they do. They're moving the drugs through there. They're doing whatever they want to do because California, and they're the ones that started it and it's spread throughout the nation like a cancer. California bends over backwards to have a flood of illegal immigration residing in that state. So it's and they want everybody to be numb to it there and just accept it as a way of life. And they have gotten away with that for a really long time. I'm sorry.
No, no, you're absolutely right.
Hmm.
Thank
Hey,
you so.
Kevin, I don't mean to interrupt, but I someone was just requesting now who this is the first pro Newsom, pro Kamala person is requesting to speak. Should I bring
Where?
it? Bring
Which? Who?
Cool. Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Collum. I want to see kind of Angela and Kate go off on this person. Should I bring?
You know what?
Oh my
Let's.
gosh. Yes.
You know what? Here that person is, and you know what? Uh,
Before they start, can I give a little pushback on Texas though?
Angela, go. Wait, what do we got here?
Okay. So, yes, Texas is a Republican state. I get it. But they have very Democrat cities. And a lot of these cities are horrible. And we're seeing it. And Texans are actually fighting it. Like I brought up the Sharia city earlier, right? So, a lot of the cartels and a lot of these people are working directly, like inside Texas itself. Okay, so it's a massive it's not, yes, the majority of it's happening in Democrat cities, but we can't think that it's not happening in Texas or that it won't happen in Texas. Yes, we've got the governor that's like trying to fight it, but a lot of the Republican leaders, for some reason, haven't been talking about it or they haven't had much pushback. And like places like Dallas and Houston and the rest of it, like you're going to see that and it's going to rise even more. So you have to keep your eye on Texas and not just think that everything's going to be handled because it's not.
No, you're
And
absolutely right.
send Scott there so that we can take care of
Hey,
it,
the
please.
Republicans in Texas, guys, in the legislature, they're completely Bush corrupted. They are, if you want to use the word,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, if you want to use the word rhino, boy, you've got it there in Texas. They are, Ken Paxton was trying to hold it together, and they tried to impeach him.
Although
So
you know what, I'm not gonna lie. As left wing as Austin is, I love that city.
what,
That's a
Austin?
fun.
I will say though,
That's a fun city.
Austin.
I will say though, to your point though about the cities, even the cities in Texas are starting to seem to be trending a lot more to the right. In 2023, we lost the San Antonio mayor's race by 39 points. Then Trump only lost it by 16. Then last night, there was another race for mayor in San Antonio, and we only lost by 8 points. So it went from 39 points to 8 points loss. It shifted tremendously to the right. But that's about 21 points to the right in the past 2 years. So even parts of Texas are starting to wake up, even in the very
Because
urban cities.
they don't want it there. The community members, they're showing up at their council meetings. I mean, I'm seeing it across the state. They don't want it there, and they realize that it's happening there, and it's not just blue cities. It's just obviously worse in blue cities. But if we lose Texas, come on, guys.
Don't worry, we'll win you New York.
Don't forget about Jersey.
Yeah, that's right. That blue wall is gonna be Connecticut and Rhode Island when we're done.
Okay, I'm not delusional. Chicago's gone. I get it. It's fine.
Yeah, no, we know. But
Except for the prison. Except for the prison.
yes, yes. So let's keep going around the horn here.
So
Uh,
should we have Mr. Column give the pro Newsom, pro riot, pro Mexico, pro Kamala side of things?
yeah,
Oh,
sure. Why not, Mister
Followed by
Cullum?
Thomas Massey. How does that work?
interesting.
Mister
Well,
Cullum, would you care to let us know what a great job Gavin Newsom is doing? I guess Xi Jinping must be on his way. Uh, let's see what you got.
floor is yours, man.
Go it. Don't kill my energy, bro. There you go. Get the hell out of here, Leslie. What's going on?
Kevin, a whole lot of craziness is going on.
I know. You were up here for a while. We gave that kid a chance, and I guess not everybody can hit the curve. So, what do you think about the what do you think about LA? What do you think about what's going on? Is it going to get worse before it gets better? Before we get to Leslie, guys, make sure you repost in the space. Leave me a comment about who your favorite speaker is up here. We all know it's going to be Kate because it's always Kate. But let me know in the purple pill, guys. Repost the space. Leslie, what do you think's going to be happening?
I think it's going to get a lot worse, Kevin, than it's going to get better. I mean, the way things are going right now is just, are people fed up? What's happening? What's going on? And, the chaos that's happening. And I don't know, I'm reading a lot of things, is this going to lead into martial law? What the hell is going to happen? Is that Trump administration going to take over? As we see this time and time again with California, it's like those parties don't agree with one another. And it's sad to see what's happening to the people that live in LA, and just what is happening with ICE, and, people trying to legalize and do things the proper way, and how a lot of them are also getting detained when they're going to their appointments and their meetings. And I just think that some people are becoming fed up with how the government is being ran. And this is what we're seeing. It's like, is it a cry, or is it staged, or is it paid?
Well, I think those are all valid questions, and it seems as though many of us have at least thought that once the USAID stuff was shut down. But as Angela will tell you, it goes a lot deeper than that. It goes much, much deeper than that. There's it. I think if you want to fix the problem, you have to go after the C3s. You have to go after the nonprofits because look, so many of them, and this isn't even so political. Um, the 501c3 system is bullshit. Are there many that do great work? 1,000%. Guys, go donate to Tunnel to Towers. I get nothing for that. It's just a great organization. The Jimmy Fund does great work with cancer research. There's plenty of good ones. So don't be that guy that comes in here. Oh, you're saying they're all bad? No, no. Some of them are very good. But it's the C3 statuses that a lot of these people funnel their money to. They get the tax write off. They pay the C3 itself pays no taxes for all the people that want to yell about, oh, you got to pay your fair share. I'm still waiting for Al Sharpton to pay his fair share. I think I'm going to be waiting a while. But no, you're right, and I'm curious to see how far they're willing to go. I mean, it's about 9 o'clock on the West Coast. As night falls, Does the crowd disperse? Does the firebombing get a little bit worse? Who is really sure? Who really knows? I
Well, they just attacked a parking kiosk in downtown LA. They torched it and destroyed it. I'm watching Cam's feed right now. So, we'll see.
What
And
about
you know,
curfews, guys?
I'm
Are there any curfews that have been set? Anybody know anything about that?
oh,
I don't I don't
I
see that, but I'm curious, like, with them bringing up potentially 500 active duty Marines. I'm just curious if anyone knows, and I'm genuinely posing the question to, everyone that's a speaker in the space. What is the threshold for bringing in and essentially activating those 500 active duty Marines?
Well, they'd have to be under the jurisdictions of the feds, so they'd have to go after a courthouse or a federal building or a
Right, but they
federal
already have the
highway.
National Guard in there protecting those buildings. So I'm just
Right.
curious, like, what the threshold would be for them to actually deploy them.
Right, but the National Guard can only do so much. They're only allowed to be in a very defensive position, and they cannot step like a foot outside of like the federal building area where they are or something, you know what I mean, like that.
I tell you, one person I definitely want to hear from it here because she was given a big thumbs down before. I don't know her, Miss Demeanor. Seems she went to the University of Chicago Law School, so I'm curious as to what you think. Did you take a class with Bill Ayer and Bernadine Dorn? Uh,
No, hi, Kevin.
how's it going?
Hi, I'm not that old.
No,
No,
no.
I'm
Well,
actually from California.
oh,
I'm
okay.
from yeah, I'm from California. I just happened to go to school back east, but
Well,
so
that's time out. That's definitely Midwest.
okay,
Well, I
well,
guess everything's east from California, right?
it is. Yeah,
There you go.
exactly. Exactly. Okay, so I just wanted to comment on the buildings. So I represent commercial landlords, very big property owners. And I want to tell you that every time these riots, whether it was the George Floyd or anything else happens, nobody protects private property. So if the National Guards are protecting any buildings, they're federal buildings, they're not private properties, they're not our shopping centers or anything. I heard, maybe it was in this space or another, that Rick Caruso, who I know pretty well because I know his group and I know his attorneys, they had said that Rick Cruz had said, "Oh, everything is calm here, and there's no violence, and there's nothing going on." I want to explain that. When you, as a property owner like him, who owns shopping centers and is very well known, when he says things are calm, the rioters leave him alone. Okay, so he's saying that to save his properties. We all now currently, all of the landlords, all of our big commercial holdings, we all have private security. They're all ex-military and they're all guarding our properties. The same thing that happened during the fires. We hired private fire departments, firefighters to protect our properties. The state doesn't do anything for private property owners. And certainly we don't expect the federal government to, because their agenda is public safety and enforcing immigration law, which has nothing to do with private property. But I just want to tell you that when these things happen, we have lost so many good tenants in our shopping centers. We just had Amazon Fresh, which is obviously a big national chain, leave one of Caruso's spaces, actually, one of his shopping centers. They left because of retail theft. Nike Town, again, left because of retail theft and because of the looting and so forth. It's not just what you see that's happening in terms of the immigration protesting and the people being upset about policy. There is almost billions of dollars in property damage that is never recouped. And what
Well,
happens is that it hurts the communities and the people that live in those communities that depended on those retail shops and stores and so forth. And it diminishes their standard of living and their quality of life.
Well, you
I
know
just,
what?
yeah,
We saw that in Minneapolis, where
yeah.
that one Walgreens in the neighborhood closed because of retail theft, and now old people in the neighborhood can't get their prescriptions. They got to take like the bus like a half hour to go
Exactly.
get it, and that's what
Exactly.
ends up happening. But this is what happens, and I hate to say this because I feel like we have this argument like once a decade or a couple times a decade. When you destroy your own communities, don't come back 3, 4 years later bitching and moaning that you're about ghettoization and there's no investment. Like, why would I, particularly for the older people in here who remember '92, like it, you know how long it took South Central to like rebuild after the Rodney King riots? It hasn't even come back yet, and that's been the majority of my lifetime. And it is disturbing because then people are just going to complain they don't have anything in their neighborhoods. And why would a Walgreens? Why would an Amazon? Why would a Nike or a Foot Locker open up in a place that's about to get looted? Why would I open a liquor store knowing that it's going to be the first place to get, its windows broken? Because, nothing says equality like a bottle of Chivas Regal. Like it's just it's frustrating to see because nobody wants to see dead towns and dead neighborhoods, particularly in a place like LA that has enough resources and enough money behind it that it could be something great if twice a decade they didn't burn the damn place down.
I have a question for a misdemeanor. I find it just kind of interesting that you concern yourself with property and being damaged and tenants leaving buildings when you also support a guy who murdered another guy in cold blood and think that he should be free. That kind of interests me. It's fascinating, frankly, that you care more about property than you do murdering a human being.
It's really interesting that you don't know any facts of that case, but
I
then
know
you
he murdered
assume
Brian
that.
Thompson in cold blood, and they
He
sent a
didn't murder
fry.
anybody, sir. I'm sorry. I'm not going to have the conversation of Luigi Mangione's adjudication here. This is a conversation about LA riots. If you want to have a conversation about his case, I'd be happy to speak to you about it as I am in contact with the law firm that represents him. But I will tell you this. He has not been adjudicated, convicted, or sentenced of anything. His presumption of innocence must stay in place, which is exactly what I remember everyone demanded for the J6 defendants. So if we're going to have that for everyone else, right, then we must have it for everyone, irrespective of what you think of him or the healthcare industry or Mr. Thompson or anything else. There's a lot of
Wasn't he caught
holes.
on
It was
video
on camera.
though?
What the
Very
fuck?
emotional response for a murderer. Very emotional response. Very
I'm
strange.
always, I always, you know what? I'm a defense attorney. I will always stand by my client. And the presumption of innocence is the bedrock of our democracy, as is due process, which I hear a lot about,
You know what?
habeas
If I
corpus.
ever did anything terrible, I'd probably want her as my lawyer, but she's wrong. Anyways,
Can't wait till they
listen.
fry
She's
him.
defending. She's defending. It's
I'm
what she does.
defending because there's I don't understand why you're so quick to judge people. When they were talking about the J6 defendants as being murderers and insurrectionists and so forth, I heard a cry out for 4 years from all of you in this room who I
Lady,
believe
it
are
wasn't on camera. It wasn't on
what's
camera.
on
He was on
camera.
camera with a gun shooting
There's no
someone.
positive idea of the face on the camera. Who
Of
are you
all the
talking
injustices in the
about?
world, why do you so compassionate about Luigi? Well, like it's just, I think it's about
Okay, before she
why,
sues
It's a
me, someone
but it's
corrupt
was
just
on
strange
camera.
system,
how all the
and it's a
evil injustice
corrupt
in the world you're so
DOJ,
quick to
and
defend
it's
just
the
Luigi.
corrupt
And frankly,
DOJ. Yeah,
I don't think
it's
anyone ever accused a J6er of murder. They walked around a building.
no, they didn't
It's a little
walk
different
around
from
a
murdering a guy
building.
in
No,
cold blood
actually,
in the
they
video.
did. Actually, they did. And I'm sorry, there were a few officers that committed suicide. They did actually. They
All
were
right,
accused of a lot
now
of things.
here we go. This is the best part of I had me having the mute button is probably not like the best thing in the world. We're definitely not gonna go down yeah, no. I'm sorry they committed suicide, but no, we're not doing that. Your boy Luigi definitely shot some guy in the back in the middle of the street like a bitch. Because nothing says brave. Nothing says brave like shooting a guy in the back. Hey, Myron, what's going on, brother?
He didn't shoot anybody. You don't know who the shooter was.
Well, you
Thank you.
lost the court of public opinion. I'm sorry.
Well,
You can fight it
I
in
know,
court.
but what flies in the street doesn't land in the court. Thank you.
I'm still trying to figure out why she's not in the kitchen making a sandwich. Holy shit, she has an annoying voice. Why do we let women speak like this all the time? This is
Yo,
ridiculous now.
Myron was good, bro.
Yo, what's up, man? How are you? I figured I'll just come in here and talk about this situation since I actually used to work in immigration and I used to work for HSI. So I'll talk about this real fast.
Absolutely, man. Love to hear it. And I definitely want to get your opinion on. Oh, yeah. Look, now dumpsters are on fire.
Yeah.
We
Yeah. Here's the thing. I've been saying this for years. I'll say it again. Los Angeles is a failed city. California is a failed state. It's under terrible leadership. And this is what happens when you have blue cities that pretty much don't want to enforce immigration for decades on point. I was literally just watching an LAPD press conference with the chief of police, who's a pussy, saying, "Oh yeah, we never enforce immigration. It's like something that just the feds do." And now, when there's immigration enforcement because the president actually wants to enforce, Title 8 and the INA and actually like bring some rule and law and bring these fucking immigrants back who want to wave around Mexican flags. Now everyone wants to uprise and go crazy. Well, this is what happens when you don't enforce immigration for decades upon decades upon decades. And I think this speaks to a larger problem here, which what I'm going to say here is probably going to be offensive to some people, but I'm going to say it anyway. This is why we need to really decrease mass immigration. This is why we need to be really hard on deporting people back. This is why we need to really focus on being cautious of allowing the country to become a mass immigrant population. Because if you guys want to see what the future of the United States awaits if we continue to allow mass immigration, look no further than Los Angeles, look no further than Seattle, look no further than Portland or these other cities that have a majority of have a lot of immigrants, so to speak, and have this blue doctrine of, oh yeah, let's just go ahead and let all these people come in and not enforce immigration. And then when you do decide to enforce immigration, they're attacking ICE agents, they're attacking FBI agents. I want to make this clear. They're attacking federal agents from all the different agencies because it's not just ICE that's going out here. It's the FBI, it's IRS, it's the DEA, it's the ATF, it's the U.S. Marshals, every single federal law enforcement agency. And then the state and locals didn't want to come out and help until they were pretty much forced to do so because LAPD, the sheriff's office, they're all cucked over there in California because Gavin Newsom is a politician, doesn't want any of them acting on immigration policy because it's a dirty word. So,
Myron, real quick,
yeah.
if the National Guard is deployed, I haven't seen if they are actively on the ground or not.
But only
What
only at the federal buildings, nice facilities
what
so
yeah
far.
what role will they do any sort of crowd control, or will they basically just stand outside of the federal buildings and make sure that nothing happens to that? Like, well, what is the actual role of the National Guard in that sort of situation?
Yeah,
To
I mean, they're
protect
gonna
the
be there
federal
to
buildings. We're
oh,
there to
yeah,
protect the federal buildings. The Marines have been deployed
hey,
from Camp
hey,
Hamilton
women,
on the
women,
way.
women, shut the fuck up. Nobody asked you to talk. This is crazy to me. Shut up. Incredible. Anyway, the National Guard basically is going to be there to augment the feds. The feds are going to be conducting their operations, and the National Guard is going to be there to, keep places secure, help them with perimeter stuff like that. They're going to not be involved. They're going to try to use the National Guard in, the least capacity as possible, kind of have them more as like fodder and like, holding perimeters. And then that will allow them to be able to go into areas, do their job effectively, pick up any illegal aliens that they got to pick up. But this is a long time coming, man. This is what happens when you go decades without, mass immigration enforcement. And what we're seeing in LA is something that can happen in any major city if we let too many immigrants get in, man, because this is starting to get ridiculous now.
Now, there was rumors, Pete Hegseth talking about bringing in the Marines. Now, there's been a lot of controversy on whether or not that is allowed or what would happen if they did. I mean, would you see them bringing in the actual military as I don't know, an overstep or an over escalation? What would it take for that sort of thing to happen?
Yeah, I mean, the Insurrection Act, martial law, they could do it. Obviously, it's a big step, but they absolutely are within their right to do it. I think their things are getting crazy. Obviously, LAPD now is kind of forced in to help. I think that hopefully they can get it, handled on their own, but we'll see what happens, man. Because absolutely, the president, if he feels as though it's becoming worse, yeah, they could definitely bring in the military.
I will say that
By
it is. I will say that it is interesting because the longer this goes on for, the less of a chance Gavin Newsom has in 28, and he's literally watching his presidential aspirations like deteriorate in real time. And I just gotta say, it couldn't happen to a better person. Absolutely
Yeah.
couldn't happen to a better guy.
Yeah, no, it's good because it goes to show that like the Democrats at the end of the day, right, value looking a certain way instead of enforcing law. If California and Los Angeles hadn't been under the rule of Democrats for so goddamn long, we wouldn't be having this problem right now where doing simple immigration raids, which shouldn't be a big deal, trust me, because ICE is trying to just go in there and get out. They're not trying to go in there and break doors and fuck people up. They're just trying to go in, take the illegal aliens that they catch, and leave. The fact that it's been so difficult and they've been dealing with this much animosity and this much problems, like, dude, when I was on the Southwest border in Laredo, everybody's fucking illegal. We weren't having problems like this because they know how to behave down in Texas, okay? In California, the reason why they act this way is because there's lawlessness, because they feel emboldened by their stupid politicians, their stupid mayors, their stupid police chiefs, their stupid fucking sheriffs, thinking like, oh yeah, we can do what we want because they're not going to necessarily deport us. That is why they're emboldened to behave the way that they do. Because let me tell you something, there's more illegal aliens in South Texas than anywhere else, but those motherfuckers get in line when you show up. And that tells you that this is a city problem. This is a political structure problem. That's the problem here. And we got to get these fucking dickheads out of here because they prefer their cities to burn down over enforcing rule of law.
Absolutely, guys. Real quick reset. Make sure you guys repost the space. Leave us a comment in the purple pill. I want to thank everybody for coming in. We almost hit 1,000 in my first space. We're like 2 people away. So, guys, message your friends just because I want to hit that round number.
Here, I'll bring it up to 1,000 for you right now. Hey, everybody, I'm live streaming right now. Guys that are live streaming, join in this space. It's here, I'll drop the link for you guys. We'll bring it up to 1,000 plus. Don't worry, I got you.
Perfect. You know what it is that when I see like 998, it just drives me crazy. It's like I gotta get that fixed. But yeah, no, guys, repost the space. We're gonna
1,003 now.
We're gonna be going for a while because I don't see this riot ending anytime soon, especially because we're 3 hours behind. So hell, we could be here all night. So guys, thank everybody for coming in. Let's get some hands. Oh, hey Jordan, what's going on, man?
What's going on, man? I'm happy to be here, man. So it's good to see you on your first base.
So what do you think about LA tonight? Where's this going? You think this is the end or this is just the beginning?
Do you really want to know what I think about LA?
Let's go. Let's see what you
All
got.
right. Well, first off, I'm sick and tired of conditioner friend over here, Gavin Newsom, on TV every 30 seconds. That's getting really annoying. Get off TV and fix LA. We already saw this one time already when the city was burning down. Now I got to see it again, where he's just going to let the whole city burn. We're going to sit back and look, and we're going to say, well, I guess maybe we'll give him another chance. What's he going to do? Another podcast run with Charlie Kirk and think that way, oh, well, maybe he's switching sides. He's just going to do the same thing. It's the same rodeo. It's been the same rodeo, like Myron was saying. This is what happens when you let immigration, and illegal immigration at that, run rampant all through California. And that next thing you know, that half the city is Mexican, and everybody, I guarantee you, half the actual citizens that are here in LA are hiding in their houses right now for dear life. They're like, I'm not going out. More than likely, that's what they're doing.
Well, yeah, that was the big question before. Is that, are these the illegals protesting, or are they just angry white women who feel self-righteous? And based on the photos, it seems like it's just your average run-of-the-mill California liberal that out there doing this stuff. So I mean, look, if I was an illegal immigrant, would I be out there doing this, risking it? Probably not. But I guess maybe it depends how emboldened they feel.
Yeah, are you guys
Well, let me
seeing
tell you
this?
something else real quick too when it comes to these cities, right? So when I was on a job, right, because I was the HSI special agent, right? So we conducted not just immigration enforcement, but we also went after people for federal crimes. And one of the big federal crimes was alien smuggling, right? 8 U.S.C. 1324, which is a federal crime, right? It's not even like it's a Title 8 crime, but it is a federal crime, right? So what's up happening is I'll never forget this shit. I was stationed in Laredo, Texas, and we had some smugglers that we identified up in Austin, Texas, because the way these criminal organizations will work is the main smugglers that organize all the smuggling would typically be in transit cities like San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, etc. So one time we arrested a guy and he gave us information, provided the guy at the top of the totem pole, and he was a guy out in Austin, Texas. We went up there in Austin, Texas to effect the arrest. I'll never forget this. Austin was like, "Oh yeah, sorry man, we can't come out and help you." Why not? Oh, well, it's an immigration warrant, right? No, it's a federal warrant. The guy, we're going to hit it with the marshals. Oh, well, it's a part of the Title 8, so we don't want to get involved. And I was like, what the fuck? And that's kind of when I started figuring out, this was when I was early on the job, obviously, about sanctuary cities, right? And basically these sanctuary cities, like, your San Francisco's, your Denver's, your Austin, Texas's, or, New York City, etc. A lot of these cities basically have been insulating, right, these illegal aliens for decades, right? And what ends up happening is they feel impervious because they know that they're there. They know that the local police aren't going to ask for their immigration status. They know that if they're pulled over without a driver's license, they're fine. They know that if they're there illegally and they could just make it there, they won't have any issues. So you get, a couple of illegal aliens going there, then next thing you know, everybody goes there because it's not just going to be one illegal alien. It's always going to be typically their family or their cousins or other people as well. And typically illegal aliens, when they're legal, they don't just they stick together and they end up forming these communities. And what ends up happening is they start to overtake the community, and the law enforcement and the governance, they start to get scared and they want to do anything. So from a political standpoint, they start to create these, stupid ass sanctuary cities. And what people don't understand is these sanctuary cities basically facilitate the illegal immigration even more so, because that is what funnels and funds the illegal smuggling into the United States. Every illegal alien that comes to America, a lot of Americans don't know this. They have to go through a human smuggling organization to come into the United States. It's very difficult to come to the United States without utilizing an HSO or human smuggling organization. And the reason why is because for you to actually cross the river, if you're coming in from Nuevo Laredo, or for you to cross into the United States, if you're like in El Paso and Juarez or whatever, you need to pay the cartel to be able to cross. It's called a quota. They got to pay $1,000 to $2,000 US to cross in. Now, if not only do they have to pay to cross into the cartel, right? The human smuggling organization that smuggles them, they got to pay them a certain amount, depending on where they're from and where they're going in the United States, which is complex. I can answer that if somebody asks me. But to keep things simple for the purpose of me explaining this to you, they have to go through a human smuggling organization, then they have to pay the cartels a fee to get across the border. And then if they're coming from a different country, not Mexico, let's say from China, or they're coming from Russia or from an Arab country, that's called an exotic. They got to pay 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, $60,000. I remember when I was in Miami, Chinese were paying $60,000 to come to the United States, and that was through maritime. So the thing I'm trying to say here is, for illegal aliens to come into the country, they need to pay these human smuggling organizations, and then these human smuggling organizations prioritize getting these illegal aliens to major cities that have sanctuary protection. So as you can see, our laws that we have here almost facilitate this bullshit, and the Democrats allow this to happen. And when the Democrats are in power, it gets even worse. They tell ICE that they can't do enforcement and removal. So what ends up happening is, whenever there's a Democrat in for 4 years, right, unless they're getting caught at the border or like they're a criminal alien, they really don't want you going out and like arresting people and doing these operations. So you have to wait till like a Republican's in that's pro-immigration enforcement, then they can finally fucking do what they got to do. But at that point, they've been defunded, they've been demoralized, they don't want to do their job, they're fucking lazy because they didn't do shit for 4 years. So it's like it's a very vicious cycle where you need a president like Donald Trump to come in and say, yeah, we're going to go hard and we're going to go hard on the immigration. Then they can finally mobilize their fat asses and do something. And then bam, they get the hell that they're getting now in LA, because you've had decades upon decades upon decades of non-aggressive immigration enforcement, especially in sanctuary cities like LA. That's why they're dealing with the problems that they're having.
Now,
Hang on, Myron, wait, really fast. There's breaking news. There's some rogue van right now driving through the protest. I put the link in the top. He was driving through the protest and he almost hit a bunch of people.
You
and
niggas better like the goddamn video, bro, right now.
Was that the?
I linked the video. You guys have to watch this. He's running out of his car.
Okay,
This
that's
is
just
crazy.
me giving you 5% of my energy powers, by the way.
Was that?
Like the goddamn stream, sub to the stream, join OSS, join Castle Club.
Yeah, Myron, do your pitch.
What was that? My bad.
I said, do your pitch. Tell everybody where to follow you, because you got some great content. You're definitely hilarious, and you know your shit. So.
Yeah, my bad, man. I didn't mean.
No, do it, man.
No. I meant to mute myself. But yeah, you guys can check me out on here, Twitter, Myron Gaines X, Rumble, YouTube, Kick, Myron Gaines X everywhere. You know, I'm very offensive, so if you're a female, you might get mad when I make my sandwich jokes. But if you have thick skin, then yeah, I give a lot of good info.
Hey, look, I'm always up for a sandwich. But so how much power does the Mexican president have? Because a lot of people talk about how they run by the cartels and they kind of just give them the free reign. Could she at least slow this process down if she wanted to, or is it more of a Pablo Escobar running Colombia situation?
Mexico is cooked, bro. And the reason why we can't depend on them to do anything is because they're fucking useless and they're all corrupt. Because the problem is that in Mexico, the cartels literally run everything. So I'll give you guys an example. When I was on the southwest border in 2014, right, I was in Laredo, Texas. Across the border, we had Nuevo Laredo out of Tamaulipas, Mexico. At the time, the Zetas controlled it, right? And, I remember vividly from my apartment, because I was right there on the border, I can hear machine guns going off every night. And that was the Mexican Marines fighting with the Zetas. These guys had military grade weapons and they were fighting the Marines, and only the Marines were the ones that could stand up to them. So these guys are fighting the military and killing them. And the reality is that Mexico has been under siege by the narcos for decades. And the government, they're kind of just there trying to do things, but they can't do anything because they're corrupt. They don't get paid enough. And the cartels run everything, man. So, if anything, we're going to have to do things, on the U.S. side to really stop this stuff, because it's very difficult to get done. And this is why the Trump administration designated them a terrorist organization, guys, because for a very long time, federal law enforcement, we were kind of, limited in what we could do with them, because since they're not a terrorist organization, you can't really use high side, classified assets to go after them. But since they designate them as a terrorist organization, now you can use the full force of the intelligence agencies and use those capabilities and use the military on your side as well. Because before we were kind of, stiffed a bit, man, because you're trying to listen to phones and everything else, and it's become different now because they use encrypted software with WhatsApp and Telegram and Signal, so it's really hard to do Title IIIs and listen on phone intercepts. So Mexico in itself is cooked, and then the fact that it's a Jewish woman running it, even worse. So they're fried over there. It's done.
So they, because everyone keeps saying that there's a new, there's a new leader in Mexico and things are going to change, and the relationship with the United States, but it doesn't seem like there's even an effort. There doesn't seem like there is even a desire on her part to do anything. I mean, I would say if President Trump really wanted to push the button, she shut down the trade from Mexico, do something when it comes to their economy before we're able to, well, until she's able to at least get some control over this, or at least make an attempt at stopping the cartels from controlling the border.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't want to die. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, these cartels generate an enormous amount of revenue for Mexico, right? I mean, we're talking, millions upon millions of dollars a day, right? Between all the different places, because you got to keep in mind that the cartels, right? They oversee all the criminal activity, whether it's the drug trafficking, the weapons, the human smuggling, because human smuggling organizations have to operate within the auspice of these cartels, and they got to pay them fees, right? Like I said, I explained before, the quotas. A lot of times the Mexican cartels try to stay away from human smuggling because it's a very difficult and cumbersome business. It takes a lot of logistics. It's very difficult to do. They prefer just the drugs because it's just a product and you move it across. But they absolutely tax the human smuggling organizations that operate in their jurisdiction. So, there's an enormous amount of money to be made from the illegal trade, man. So, and the government's going to be getting their cut. So this rampant corruption, man, and honestly. I just don't see anything getting done. She's just trying to kind of do the most that she can without getting killed.
The amount of people who are leaving comments talking about rooftop Koreans is some of the funniest shit I have ever seen. It's like
Yeah, we got to bring them back, bro.
everyone's
We
asking,
need them.
everyone's asking where they are.
Mobilize.
Yeah, and I'm sick of Mayor Bass too. She needs to go.
Well, she's out there looking with like resting Joker face. Now that she's become mayor of LA, she's plugging all that shit into her face. She looks ridiculous out there. And you know what? I'm sorry. Being a mayor in a major city like LA and New York, it is not a part-time job. And unfortunately, too many of the mayors, like Karen Bass and Bill De Blasio before Adams, who's gotten a little bit better, but he's still not great. They they just show up when something happens, and it's frustrating to see because as American cities go, so do America, and I really think that this is going to get a lot worse tonight before it gets better. People keep putting live streams in the chat, which is great. If you guys are watching content, I'm happy somebody is covering it right now, but it is this is going to be a rough night in LA, and apparently the LA police commissioner literally told everyone to strap in for a rough night, and that's the history of Los Angeles. That doesn't bode very well.
You don't understand. I got to tell you about this van. It was like a rogue van and it went into the protest and it almost hit a man on a bicycle and multiple other protesters. And then it like swerved around and the cops were chasing it for like 10 minutes until the guy in like some wife beater and shorts like stumbles out of the car and gets out and no one knows what the hell was. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. That's why I put it in the live feed. Maybe you guys can like scroll back and look at it. But like this is going to be a wild night.
He was definitely wearing slides with socks.
I think all the kids do that these days. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's a terrible trend and it needs to go. But once again, guys, hit the thumbs up button. We got an awesome panel here. Make sure you follow everybody on the stage. Repost the space. What do you guys think? Will they deploy from Camp Pendleton in Southern California? I think that's in San Diego. What will that do? Will that be positive or negative for the Trump administration? Panel, I'm curious your thoughts. Where do we go from here?
I
Can
think it'll be very positive for the Trump administration. I wanted to gauge the opinion of Myron and Jordan, some of the other people, new people in the space now, and I asked this question earlier. I think the public opinion and the vibes have changed tremendously. I think that people people, especially in the administration, were terrified of sending out troops in 2020 during the Black Lives Matter riots. Now that we are emboldened, we're confident. The public is fully supportive of it. What do you guys think? Are people more excited about this now? Are people more emboldened to do it? Do you think Trump's going to be a lot more?
This is what we voted for, man. At the end of the day, like, let's be honest, we voted for ICE to do their fucking job and go deport illegal aliens that are here, not to go after fucking college students that are talking shit about Israel. Like, we voted for mass immigration. We voted for tariffs. We voted for, getting rid of this woke ideology bullshit that's going on. We voted to, take back our fucking country and, end the war in Russia and Ukraine. Which is what he campaigned on. So this is what people voted for. So this is great. I think if anything, all it's going to do is it's going to make the people that support Trump support him even harder. And then obviously the Democrats are going to continue to cry because this is what they don't want, because they don't like law enforcement doing their job and, getting rid of illegal aliens. And this is honestly what we needed a while ago. I think law enforcement needs to be extremely hard on these individuals, whether it's BLM, who I think is a domestic terrorist organization. I think we need to treat these motherfuckers like Al Qaeda because they're doing the same exact shit. They're just not screaming fucking... Same thing. They're just screaming George Floyd and I can't breathe and those other bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. These guys are over destroying major cities. They're causing billions of dollars of destruction. And we need to treat them like a terrorist organization as well. I don't know why the FBI hasn't designated BLM as a terrorist organization. They need to. And we just need to go hard on all these guys. I saw that the FBI put out a reward on some guy that was like, throwing shit at the government building. Good. They need to arrest every single agitator that went ahead and threw, rocks at cops or any this other stuff. We need to send a message. If you guys want to go here and assault law enforcement, you guys want to prevent law enforcement officers from doing lawful activity of arresting illegal aliens, well, you're gonna fucking pay the price, man. We need to go hard on these idiots and put them in jail. And this is what we voted for, man. We voted on mass deportations of people that are illegally here, not people that are legally here that are criticizing Israel with constitutionally protected speech. Two completely different things. Go after the illegal aliens because we don't got fucking money and time to go after these assholes that talk shit about Israel. We really don't. We need to focus on the people that are here illegally.
Absolutely. And you know what? I think that this is the first time, at least in my life, that we're getting the administration that we actually voted for. The biggest issue was immigration. And no matter what, no matter what the public pressure has been, no matter how many Kill Marabuego Garcias come out of the woodwork, by the way, the fact that they brought him back here just to stand trial, just so we can deport him again, is both ridiculous and hilarious at the same time. But
It's all optics. That's all.
I hope
Theatrics and optics.
I hope they televise every minute of that trial, so that we can see and so that every idiot on this platform and every idiot on the networks is going to see exactly what kind of a piece of shit this guy actually was. And
Yeah, let them give him his due process that everyone was screaming about, and then they can see with all of the facts that are brought out in court what a piece of shit he is, and let it have the exact same outcome.
I have a genuine feeling they wouldn't have brought him back unless they had something that is going to like really set like PR on fire.
I
They definitely have some
100%.
like they definitely have like some lumped up photo of his girlfriend looking like Rihanna.
Yes, like when they said that
100%.
they had the indictments like ready to go, and before we knew anything about it, they definitely have enough on him to make this like gloriously backfire in all of the Democrats and like grifters' faces.
Oh, there's so many of them out there. All the people that pretended to be so self righteous, and it's really going to blow up directly in their face. All right, let's see. Let's go to some of the hands here.
So wait, really
Oh,
fast. LAPD said, and this is funny because I guess it's no longer peaceful, but that the agitators, okay, so these rioters have splintered into and throughout the downtown area. Residents, businesses, and visitors to the downtown area should be alert and report any criminal activity. So I think that's them admitting that it's no longer freaking peaceful and that they have a serious problem on their hands, but they still can't say it outright.
well, because
Why even
that's what.
bother reporting it? They're not going to do anything anyway.
Yeah,
They're
They're just
not.
going to back down. Why even report it?
but that's what happens every single time. They're they they don't nip this in the bud before it gets like aggressively out of hand, and then once night falls, suddenly they're all befuddled that they're under siege. And it's like, well, you gave them enough rope for hours during the day when you could see them, and now they're going to drift into the neighborhoods, and things are going to start to get really, really bad. And the only problem is that I don't think that the Trump administration is going to sit back and just allow this to happen. Or are they going to allow it to happen to say, look, Gavin Newsom, you didn't want our help, and now you're missing entire neighborhoods in Los Angeles? And look, do I want to see, entire neighborhoods burned to the ground and looting? No, of course I don't want to see that. But, on some level, it's like, Gavin, Karen, you did this. You did this to your city. And then you bitched when President Trump sent in the National Guard and said he was escalating things. Like, at what point do we stop? Uh, do we stop coddling the people who seem to be asking for it?
I just wanted to say something really quick about sanctuary city, state and sanctuary city laws. So employers in California actually get prosecuted if they update their I-9 forms. So the policies are so against federal law, and it's not just policies, it's laws that the state has set up that are completely contradictory to federal law. And so their hands are super tied. Law enforcement's hands are tied. They will get in trouble if they help. Employers will get in trouble if they help. So I think it's just an important point to discuss.
Oh, and that's another thing is that, like, at what point do the law enforcement officers say to themselves, I'm not going to be the next Derek Chauvin? Like, at what point does law enforcement step back and say that, you know what? Just do your thing. It's not worth my life. It's not worth my pension. We'll deal with this in the morning. And then they have basically, what do we got? It's 9:30 on the West Coast. What is that?
Talk about that. They back up a lot, man. There's actually been like a chilling effect with a lot of law enforcement where crime has actually gone up. It's called the Ferguson effect, where basically what ended up happening was law enforcement stopped doing, what we call proactive law enforcement measures, right? Where they're like going out and actively looking for crime or actively doing operations where they're trying to take guns off the street or go after drug dealers, whatever. They pushed that stuff back. And what ended up happening was when the cops stopped doing these proactive stuff and they just, relied more on doing reactive stuff where they have to show up to a 911 call, whatever, crime actually went up. So, people say all the time, oh yeah, unarmed shootings, all blah, blah, all this other shit. The reality is, let's say cops get in a situation and they, get with a combative individual and he gets shot and he gets killed. Look, that's horrible. It sucks. This is what happens with law enforcement a lot of times, especially when people resist arrest. What ends up happening is when they politicize it, right? Saying, oh my God, they shot an unarmed black man. Oh, well, what ends up happening is the police say, fuck that. I don't want to deal with an internal affairs case. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to lose my pension. I don't want to go to jail. And they just chill out. They don't do their job. They don't want to do active policing anymore. And then crime actually goes up as a byproduct of that. And they show that with the Ferguson, they call it the Ferguson effect. So yeah, man, I mean, yeah, absolutely. The cops were just chilling back, bro. I can't tell you when I was on a job how many times guys just didn't want to do anything. They're just like, oh, fuck it, man. I'm just gonna sit here and milk OT and just chill, because they look at it like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Oh, 100%. I mean, just think about every major city. You'd think the guys in Baltimore don't know what's happening when you hang out outside of a corner store for 12 hours a day. Everybody knows. We all saw if you don't live in a major city, just go watch The Wire. That's like the best cop show ever on how things actually operate, based on what I've seen, growing up in New York and whatnot. But it's they know what's happening, but they don't actively get involved unless something is happening because they don't want to be put in that sort of situation. And it damages the neighborhood. It only makes things worse. And like we're seeing tonight, it just emboldens the criminals.
So
And think about, and the thing is too is that, like you said, when you mentioned the idea of maybe just letting the California reap what they sow, the issue is, it emboldens them and other cities. If they see one city getting away with it, they'll go to others. Like how we're seeing San Francisco now is being hit, and it starts in California, then it goes to Chicago, then it goes to New York City, then it goes to Newark, New Jersey, then it goes all across America.
Right.
And think
Michael,
and
it's like the bail reform mentality that we have in New Jersey.
Exactly, in New York City, right where we live, right outside of it, but think about how strong America will look if by the end of this week the riots are complete, if the troops are sent in, the Marines, there's planes, jeeps, everything are out there, and they quell all the riots, arrest everybody, all this, there's order restored, and then they end the week with the big military parade of aircraft and tanks and Humvees driving down to Washington D.C. with the big military parade. That would just be a message, not just to the country, but to the world, that there's no screwing around this time with Donald Trump as president and America is serious. I think that this is a prime opportunity right now is to show how serious the next 4 years are going to be in terms of how we're going to deal with lawlessness and illegal aliens and the little insurrections that are popping up.
So we may get that sooner because apparently the LAPD chief said that the protesters are getting very much more aggressive and that he would have to reassess the situation. And Trump is basically screaming, bring in the troops right now.
Cash Patel's put out a statement as well just a moment
Yeah.
ago, that they don't need permission, and that that California's under LA is under siege by criminals, and he goes, "I'm not asking, I'm telling you, we will restore law and order." So the FBI may now get involved. And you mentioned police officers earlier. Maybe not wanting to be the next Derek Chauvin. Police officers. That's their day job. They're ordinary citizens. But the Marines and the military, they don't screw around. They're used to dealing with hostile foreign terrorists attacking innocent people across the world. I'm sure they'd be more than comfortable doing it and taking care of that same threat in their own neighborhoods in LA now. I think that they've dealt with far worse, and that these guys are tough as nails, and they'll be able, especially now with the DEI, all those people being purged out, and the drag queens being purged out of the military. Now we have a serious military again. I think they'll have no problem going in and dealing with hostile foreign elements like they usually do.
Absolutely. All right, Josie, what do you got?
Yeah, so since we're talking about LAPD right now, we could clearly see on live streams from people who were at the riots yesterday because God knows, Myron Gaines banned from Twitch, but pro Marxist, pro Hamas are allowed to, live stream themselves rioting and looting stores. God knows, go figure, right?
Josie, I think your mic is cooked.
My mic is cooked.
I don't know. You're rugging here.
I'm rugging.
Yeah, I think your mic is cooked.
Is that better here?
You probably got to activate your sandwich powers. That's why it's not.
Well,
working.
that's what I'm doing right now. Maybe that's why it's rugging. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't hear if you guys can hear. I don't know.
Is that
breaking
better?
up. Josie, we'll bring you down and we'll bring you back up.
Yeah, we'll bring you back up.
Yeah, the sandwich powers weren't activated, man. You got to make a sandwich for a man superior to you, and then come back on the mic, and it'll probably work.
Sandwich powers.
Anyway.
Bro, watching you set people up with that is some of the funniest shit ever. I wish there were that many sandwiches being made like worldwide. That's just
Myron had the perfect ending to that Luigi woman when right when she was finished, when we got rid of her. Myron had the perfect cap off to that. That was perfect.
Oh, did he drop out?
Oh, maybe is he a listener? I don't know. I didn't see him. Maybe dropped out.
Yeah, we'll see if he goes back. Well, Myron, thank you for coming in as always. Shelly, what do you got?
Hey, you guys. Something that I've been listening for a little while that I haven't heard anybody talk about is our government for the last couple of years have been actually flying these guys into America on Global X Airlines planes that are leased to somebody. They're leased out of a company from Miami. They were flying out of Dallas Love in Harlingen, Texas, and they were going to El Salvador, Venezuela, Sudan, Cuba, and they're bringing nothing but these young men back on the planes. I've seen videos, people have sent me videos of them on private tarmacs at Dallas Love. They process them in Texas and they're shipping them across, pardon me, all parts of the United States. When I was in Tennessee and Nashville in September, they're staying in houses, and the houses are being rented by property management companies, and they're not renting the house up to them. They're renting them out by beds, and these men are staying in these buildings, in these sanctuary cities, and they are here for exactly what they're doing tonight. The lease on these planes is being administered by a trust out of Delaware. The address on the lease is an address of a vacant building in Ireland, and the names on the lease are non-detectable. So these people have been flown in here for the last couple years under Joe Biden and Mayorkas, and this is why they're here. This isn't your run-of-the-mill, um, illegal that's come across the border. I'm in Northern California. I grew up in Southern California. Nobody up here tonight. I've been out and about. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about what's happening down there. It makes me sick.
Yo, did you guys see? Did you guys see that Vermont congresswoman that said that if we don't let illegals in, we're not going to have anybody to wipe our asses? And these Democrats are out here trying to pretend to be virtuous when they think they're the good guys because they're like, guys, hello, like what's going to happen to your lawn?
Shh, they're anti-racist. It's fine.
Yeah, they're anti-racist because they import slaves to raise their children because they're terrible parents, and then
And
they
wipe their
And,
butts.
and let's stop pretending, that there's not thousands of illegal aliens that are panhandling on the streets. I mean, they say pick crops, but what crops are being grown in L.A.? How many lawns are there in L.A.? Frankly, I mean, there are.
yeah, no, see that's it, and that's what's so wild about it. America has always had a guest worker program, whether it's like people that come here for a short time, or day laborers, or people that come just for the harvest. We've always had these things, yet people are pretending that we have that. Oh, when they're just not going to let anyone in to do this? Like it's not out of the realm. Like the harvest comes in, we need workers, and then you go home. Like the problem is, and like we saw the firebombing guy a couple weeks ago. It's the visa overstays. It's the people that we let in either on vacation or to stay for a short while that don't leave. I often joke around that America needs a ceiling almost as much as it needs a wall.
And it's funny. No one wants to acknowledge this, and Myron, I'd actually think you'd agree with on this point I'm about to make. There's there wouldn't be so much of a demand for crops and for food to be produced in America if there wasn't like 20 million illegal aliens and add to the population of America. The more people there are, the more demand there is for the food. So there'd be less of a demand, less of a need for these crops to be produced if there's less people in the country. So if you deported the 20 million plus illegal aliens, there wouldn't be as much of a high demand for food, so there wouldn't be as much of need for workers to pick crops and everything. So the excuse, it's a paradox, you take it to the problem in
Michael,
itself.
you are so correct. And I just have to draw the parallel correlation to everything that we're dealing with here with Mount Laurel Doctrine and forcing like high density housing here in New Jersey for, low income families. It all is related to the influx of illegals.
So I can talk about this a little bit. And sorry, I don't know if my Twitter was acting up or Josie's was. I don't know, but I think mine was acting up. So that's my
We
bad.
hear you loud and clear now.
Okay, cool. My bad. So I could talk about this visa overstay thing. So I'm very intimate with the student exchange visa information system, or basically the F1 visa program that we have, right, where we allow people to come into the country. So one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is that we're not just getting beat with illegal aliens coming across the border. The visa system is abused quite a bit as well. I can't tell you how many people come into the United States, overstay their visas. They come on an F1 visa, they come on a J1 visa, they come on a B1, B2 visa. Sometimes they come even on a visa waiver program, whether they're coming from Canada or France or one of these countries that we have an agreement with. And they come here and they overstay their visas and they never leave. And you'd be amazed at how many people from France or these first world countries come here, Canadians especially. They come, right, these socialist countries, and tends to be a lot of the times, by the way, these countries that talk about how they have set national health care and all this and they make fun of us for it. Yeah, those fuckers come over here and then overstay where they don't have health care all the time because we have far more economic opportunity here than they do. So not only are we getting beat on the southwest border when they come in, or the maritime through Miami, they're also coming in on visas and overstaying. And then when they do get here, we have an entire scam industry which allows them to continue staying here legally, whether it's through fake documents. There's an entire black market that gives false documents. And then we have illegal, dirty immigration attorneys that basically coach people to get into marriage fraud. You can go ahead and marry someone for $10,000 to $20,000. I investigated all these crimes, so I'm very familiar with them intimately. But marriage fraud is another huge thing that gets abused all the time by people, or filing fake K-1 visas to bring people over. You know, now the going rate nowadays to get to marry somebody and help them get a visa or a green card is, you know, $10,000 to $20,000, right? So there's an entire industry of exploiting our immigration system through the INA just not being updated and being extremely cumbersome, and the visa system assists with that quite a bit. And again, this is why I'm so critical of these stupid ass anti-Semitism laws, because they're going after students that are lawfully here, that are actually studying, writing op-eds, right? Because they're criticizing Benjamin Netanyahu, but these same students can go ahead and burn an American flag, talk shit about Donald Trump, and they're not getting deported. Versus, or the illegal aliens that are here that are, you know, actually committing crimes or whatever, but we're wasting our resources and times on students that are here.
Well, I would say, I mean, and this is just I went to a school with a really high foreign-born population.
Yeah.
One of the biggest problems is that so many of our universities are flooded with foreign money, and because of that, it artificially drives up the prices, particularly from the major institutions. I mean, I went to a state school, so it's kind of regulated. But if there weren't so many rich foreigners going to so many of our colleges, then the colleges would have to compete for Americans. And I'm not saying everybody. Obviously, if you want to come here and you want to learn, you want to do good things, I got no problem with that. The big problem ends up being, which I saw at my school because it was a medical school, was people would come here, we would educate them. They would take out some form of a loan, and then they would go back to their home country with the unbelievable education they got here to become a doctor in Seoul or in Tokyo, or there was a large Asian population there. So I mean, I would like to see a reduction in foreign students regardless of ideology. And
No, and that's fair. You know, from the education system becoming capitalized and them just trying to make as much money as possible, right? Which that's its own problem. But the point I'm trying to make is that the visa program is extremely exploited, and I think we need to be focusing more on like the people that are abusing it to do other shit than like going after kids for like saying shit about Israel. That's my main point there.
yeah, sure.
I wanted to quickly, Kevin. I wanted to just hop into two speakers who've been waiting for a little while. Jesse Dalba, I'll have him go first, and I'll go to you, Josie. Jesse actually has a very large following on YouTube. Actually, looking at YouTube right now, you have almost like 400,000 followers. I think you know Myron to an extent. You told me you're trying to grow on Twitter a little bit. I want to hop to you, then we'll go to Josie right after.
The only thing that like I wanted to ask was like, why is this not immediately labeled domestic terrorism and send in the military and then deport everybody on buses? Like this should have happened yesterday. Why hasn't that happened? That's my only question. If anyone wants to answer, let me know.
Well, because to
Mostly
be honest with you,
Americans.
I think it's harder to rebuild something than to destroy it. It's much easier to let 20,000 people flood in a day than to remove 20,000 people in a day. And look, as much as I want Donald Trump to deport all of the people that came in over the last over the last administration, in reality, that's mathematically not possible. I think he's going to make a serious dent. But 20 million people a day. He's going to be in office for what 1,400 days. I'm not even going to attempt that math. Somebody much smarter than me can do that much faster. But that would be a significant amount of people every single day. And unfortunately, ICE just doesn't have the resources to be able to do that. They have to go find these people, and I think that's why we're not seeing the numbers as uh, as high as some of us would like.
I think he's talking about the rioters,
Yeah,
though,
I
and
am.
most
I
of
mean, like
those are
we see what they're doing
actually
right now. They're right in the
Americans,
street. Like,
but they're Americans. That's
Well,
you can't
they
deport
should
them,
be.
but definitely they should be
Yeah,
labeled
but that's the
domestic
thing.
terrorists.
But that's the thing. I hate to say it, but like, do I know you're an American? No, you. Why don't you come down to the detention center and let's find out if you're American and let's see that. And that you got to kind of like lead by like you have to lead by design too. The biggest problem with like what's going on here is that like they're you can go and put a statue in the middle of a city, it's not going to change anything. Like if these guys that are police officers, that are the National Guard, the Marines, they got to get the people off the streets. And if they don't want to get off the streets, you're getting arrested. Where's your papers?
Well,
You don't
that's it.
have
Is that
you don't have papers. I can't confirm I know who you are. Guess what? You're going back to where you came from.
for
But
sure? I mean, at this rate, all of El Salvador is going to be a prison. Like, they're going to have to like convert resorts into more maximum security prisons. But it's I look. They're going to end the riot, and then there's going to be cleanup, and then I have no doubt the FBI or people will at least attempt to procure some of these people. But right now, the goal has to be just to quash the riot before we can start getting on. And look, I'm sure there
and
have been hundreds.
the feds aren't even going against the rioters. It's the LAPD right now. So and they're pussies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the new LADA seems, I mean, relatively better than the last one. So we'll see if there's any actual charges put forth on this. But I think their goal is just to end it before, like I said, before it gets to the neighborhoods. Because once it gets to the neighborhoods, you're not ending it. This seems to be more in the metropolitan than in the different neighborhoods. So let's hope it stays there because nobody wants to see what happened in '92 or
Oh, if this ends up in Beverly Hills or in like Hollywood,
oh, it'll never get to
it'll be the worst.
it'll never get to Beverly Hills. Are you kidding me? Those people with their private security guard and their fake asses and rubber lips, they are not gonna be burning down the Burberry store or wherever the hell those people shop. I have no doubt this will not make it to Marin County where the Kardashians live.
And I'm sure Karen Bass and
I
Gavin
mean,
Newsom won't be safe
that's
and sound.
way out there. That's too far out there. Like that that's a little
I
bit too far. Like Hidden
yeah,
Hills, that's really far.
look,
Beverly Hills and stuff is down the street.
I'm from the East Coast, so I think everything that isn't San Diego is LA. That's just because I don't live out there.
Yeah, no, that's really far, dude. I don't know if the protesters have the legs for that.
Well, like I said, thank God they didn't finish that high speed rail that cost $80 million, $80 billion.
We'll be done by 2060, so definitely in our lifetimes, by the end of our lifetimes, I guess. But I wanted to go to Josie real quick. She's been waiting for a little while. You can redeem yourself now at the mic. Let's see.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yep, much better.
Okay, awesome. Um, So right now what's going on is, as you could see also on multiple live streams, you could probably go check them on Twitch if you don't believe me on this, but the LAPD was literally standing there in front of a donut shop and in front of a gas station and businesses, FYI, owned by immigrants, right? And the protesters were going in there, looting, stealing stuff in front of the cops. As the cops were watching, they stood there, didn't do anything. Anything. They were stealing beer, stealing alcohol. It's like, oh yeah, those people are hungry. Who needs to go steal a beer if their kids are hungry? Like, they're full of shit. Just
Well, that's it. Is that and you know what? Any person that has ever worked in a store would tell you that if you caught somebody like some mother stealing diapers or baby formula, like you're probably just going to let them go. But when you break into a Foot Locker, like that's not the same
No,
thing.
they
It's
were
not the same
breaking
thing.
in front of the cops as the cops were watching. And the cops were just sitting there and just being like, okay, cool. Like, not gonna do anything because what would happen is normally you find somebody, you arrest them, they can pay $80, get out of there, do it again, even within the next, I mean, same night. They're not doing anything. Like, that's a problem. We're tired of this. Like, this is like, I live around here, like this is our community, and a lot of those businesses, by the way, are also owned by people who were at some point undocumented aliens who had to work their freaking asses off to own a business in that zip code. And here we are, those people claiming to fight for those people, destroying the businesses of the people they pretend to defend. They're full of shit. Just fucking deport every single one of them. Even better, you know what? That lavender thing going on in Palestine. How about can somebody call Israel? Can we borrow a few of those? Maybe I don't know. I feel like I would rather use those on those rioters
I
over Palestinian children. I feel like that would make good use of it.
Well, I don't know what that is, but I don't know what the lavender thing is.
So just not to interrupt, but some news I just saw just 2 minutes ago, posted by Nick Sorter, is now apparently, in addition to other riots, now there's a bunch of rioters are now getting into fights amongst themselves. Now several street fights are happening between rioters, beating each other up in the streets now, and it's I guess they ran out of innocent people to attack and beat up. Now they're beating up each other now. It's fascinating development now.
Yeah, LA
Uh,
is a gang run city. I think, I could say this from going there several times. Los Angeles, especially, if you're a colored individual, let's be honest, niggas are going to be niggas, and I'll say it like it is. And Los Angeles is a gang run city between us, the Bloods and the Crips. And if you don't have certain protections there as an entertainer or whatever, you could get in serious trouble. I mean, this is why there was a big arrest by the FBI where they arrested a bunch of Crips who were basically extorting a bunch of entertainers. Like, they would come into town and say, "Oh, if you don't pay me for protection, you're going to have problems." And this has been a problem in Los Angeles for literally decades, man. And that's just kind of how it is. It's run on gang politics. So it's just a matter of time until the Black and Latino gangs and all the other groups there, would get into problems and get into fights, because obviously these riots are going to create a lot of problems. So, yeah, man, this is Los Angeles for you, man. It's literally the worst city in America. One of the worst cities in America is Los Angeles, man, by far.
forgive
I
my
mean, but I'm
ignorance, but did this
curious.
happen a lot in 1992 with the LA riots as well?
Well, no, that was more actually. There was that famous picture of like the Crips and the Bloods like uniting uh, during the '92 riots. But
Yeah,
I'm
that's like one set. That doesn't like that. That could
yeah,
be two sets
yeah,
getting along with each other. But there's so many different sets all across California where they're getting into wars and all this other shit. There's like blood gangs that align with Crip gangs that fight other gang. Like, it's just a bunch of niggatry. If I'm
yeah.
being
No,
honest.
I just meant that one famous photo. But I'm curious if the black gangs are, I don't know how would you say it, happy that the Latino gangs may be getting booted out. Like, I wonder what sort of dynamic that's going to.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean?
I
Like,
can tell you right now, the people, you don't see black people at these riots because they're happy about immigration because they're the most affected by illegal immigration. And the people I knew in South LA, they were absolutely pro Trump, anti immigration. They are not out there and they are super happy about all of it.
that's what I say. It's all the awfuls, the affluent white female urban liberal.
Yeah, no, but and it's only the like downtown major cities that are very blue, but for the most part, especially this election, if you just look like Orange County and literally anywhere else that isn't a major city, it was mostly red. People are sick of this shit.
Well, that is good. Alrighty, guys. Quick reset. It's 1 a.m. here on the East Coast, 10 p.m. on the West Coast. The riots in LA are still raging. We will see what the night brings. If this gets more intense, if this gets a little quieter, we will see. We got a great panel. Make sure you guys are following
Kevin, oh,
everybody up on the stage, and make sure you repost the space. Leave me a comment down in the purple pill. If you would like to, if you want to speak, if you got something fun to say, hit that request button. We're looking for some new people up here, and I see some friends down in the listening area, so we'd love to have you guys up here. Let's see, we got
Hey,
a hand
Kevin,
up.
I was going to take off, but I'll answer a few
Oh,
questions. If anyone has questions on federal law enforcement, immigration, ICE, FBI, and how any of these agencies work, I know how they all work. I obviously was in law enforcement for a very long time at the federal level, but I'll hang out for a little bit and answer any last questions and, try to give your space as much value as possible before I dip out.
absolutely. And you know what? Thank you so much for coming in, and thanks for. I'll be honest. This is the first space I've ever hosted, and if it keeps going this well, I'll do it more often. 12, what are we? 1,200 people. I'm liking that. So that usually doesn't happen. So thank you for the support, Myron.
Yeah, no worries, man. I put it out everywhere, so I'm glad some people joined in.
Absolutely. Let's see. We got what do we got? Silver Deegan. Silver Deegan. What do you got?
Hey, Kevin. Thanks for having me up. I guess this is really for Myron. Myron, appreciate your work. Watch your show or your clips often.
Thanks, man.
What's stopping? Like, Cash Patel makes this announcement that, he's saying, "Hey, this is what we're going to do." What's stopping these guys from really, whether him or Trump, from seizing control and putting an end to the chaos?
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to answer that. So I'll attack your Cash Patel question first. So here's a dirty little secret when it comes to the feds. A lot of people don't know. The feds don't have as much power as people think they do. And what I mean by this is they're heavily constrained by the United States Attorney's Office. And what I mean by this is the feds don't have the same probable cause arrest power like the state and local police do, right? So let's say you get pulled over by the cops. They smell weed on your breath or they smell alcohol. They arrest you. They put you into jail. No big deal. It is what it is. Trooper arrests you. They can make their PC arrest. Feds don't operate that way. The feds typically do longer term investigations, and they're going to go ahead and go to a grand jury and get you indicted. Or if they are going to make a probable cause arrest, they're going to file a criminal complaint. And for them to do that, they need AUSA concurrence. The thing is with the United States Attorney's Office, they have the privilege of taking cases that they want versus not taking other cases. So, for example, right now the FBI wants a guy for throwing a rock at a car. Well, they could go ahead and go to the AUSA. Hey, we have this guy identified. We know who he is. Would you guys prosecute? The AUSA could say, no, we're not going to take it, right? So a lot of politics play in that regard. Or they could say, no, we are going to take it, file the criminal complaint. And then they write up the criminal complaint and then they'll go get the guy. But this takes hours to do. So it's very difficult for them to, make probable cause arrests at the scene like that. A lot of the times, if the state and locals make it, then, the FBI or the feds can come in and adopt that case after the fact. But as far as quick reactive cases, making arrests right on the spot, extremely rare. The only times that you see that happen is actually when I was on a job where, customs are catching someone at the border trying to smuggle in drugs. Customs will catch them. HSI shows up. Hey, we caught him with 20 kilos of coke. All right, cool. I'll call the AUSA. Hey, I want to get this guy prosecuted. We caught him with this. All right, cool. Write up the criminal complaint, send it to me. Then I'm taking him in custody and I'm going. But I really can't do anything without an AUSA concurring. Now, as far as Trump goes, he's going to have to kind of operate at the speed of the federal agencies, right? So the federal agencies aren't going to be able to make arrests, real time quickly like that for offenses. That's the state and locals' job to do. And since the LAPD and the sheriff's office isn't being really helpful here, that's why he's brought in the National Guard. So as you can see, it's a very bureaucratic yet slow moving machine. And the fact that the state is not involved in helping in this, because obviously they don't want to be involved in immigration enforcement, makes things significantly harder. So that's kind of why things aren't moving as efficiently as they should be running. This wouldn't be happening in Texas. If this was in Texas, the state police would be out there, local police would be out there, they'd be arresting all these motherfuckers. There'd be none of this bullshit. But since the state and locals are cucked, it impedes the feds' ability to get shit done as well, because they have to do long-term investigation. That's why the FBI is putting out all these wanted posters out, but they're really not going to arrest these people until a couple of days or a couple of weeks from now, realistically speaking.
So the city essentially has to burn until the politicians say, "Hey, I need your help," or Trump
and
the
you're cutting off
bureaucrat.
there, Silver DJ, and I just heard you said something about the city, and then I didn't hear you from there.
Yeah, sorry about that. So basically, can you hear me now? Okay.
You're still cutting off.
I can hear him
Maybe
good.
your
Yeah.
I can hear him pretty good. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe tell him what he. Maybe you could tell me what he said then.
Yeah, Silver. So to ask your question, I'll repeat it to Myron.
Sure. So basically, the city either has to burn significantly, or we have to wait until the bureaucratic machine catches up and like more troops get deployed?
For the federal arrest, you're gonna have to wait for the bureaucratic machine to catch up because the feds simply don't have as much probable cause. I mean, in some cases, maybe the feds are gonna grab them right on the street if they see it happen, and then they grab them real quick, and then they call you. You'll say, "Hey, we want to file a criminal complaint." You might see some of those situations, but I anticipate that it's going to be a lot of follow up where the FBI is probably going to do a mass raid in a couple of weeks where they pick up all of these fucking writers that created problems. They're going to all get them for 18 USC 111, which is impeding a federal officer, assault, all that stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if the feds didn't do an operation a couple weeks from now where they identify all these idiots, figure out who they are, get arrest warrants for all of them, and then do a fucking massive raid and pick up with the U.S. Marshals and ICE and everybody else. That's what I think they're going to do. If they can grab some of them now, of course they will. But I anticipate that they're going to have to probably do an operation later on. And hopefully rely on the state and locals to maybe make some, arrests for disorderly conduct here and there. But we know that they're not doing that. So
Appreciate you, Myron. Again, love your
I
show.
hope that answers the question.
And
let me leave and come back because I can't hear Silver DJ. Maybe my shit is fucked up. I'll refresh my page and come right back.
Yeah, Myron,
we'll
Yeah, you're rugging a little.
Alrighty, Jesse, what do you got?
I was actually going to ask Myron the follow up on, like, couldn't we just do a state of emergency? So I guess we'll just wait for him to come back.
Well, I think a state of emergency would have to be declared by the state.
Well, doesn't the president have some type of right to that, or am I just being ignorant?
I wonder. You know what though? Is that I don't know how much Trump wants to step, on this.
It would only release federal funds.
Well, like I've been watching the news,
hang on,
right?
Jesse.
And like
Jesse, can you hear me? It would only release federal funds. It would not release federal law enforcement to do anything.
And that way, everyone could get overtime. Because every time they do a state of emergency, everybody that works for the Department of Public Works just milks overtime.
They did declare a state of unlawful assembly, though.
Yeah, but that's local again. So the president would have to invoke the Insurrection Act in order to deploy the Marines. He's got the National Guard there, but they're only guarding federal buildings. He could change that calculus and say, keep the peace if he wanted to, but or Northern Command could, but the Marines could only come in if Insurrection Act is invoked.
Time to invoke it.
I mean, look, at some point, we're on what, day 3? So I mean, when does this happen?
Monday when they'll have to go back to work.
Oh, please, none of them work. They're all out there racking in TikTok revenue, which, don't hate the play, hate the game, right?
could Trump suspend habeas corpus?
Yeah, he can. He can suspend it for a period of time. He can. And they were losing their minds about this when he talked about it with immigration. But he did talk about it. I was on Timcast and we talked about it for a bit, but he absolutely can suspend it for a period of time if he wants.
See,
That's a good point. That's a good point because Stephen Miller's been talking about that for weeks.
You know what the big problem is, though, that now that they have basically described every time Trump sneezes as dictatorial, I wonder if that is like weighing on the administration to not make a move that they would have made like in a different context. Like, oh, if he suspends habeas corpus, that's authoritarianism. And then the moment to actually do it happens, and do they second guess themselves on that?
He would also lose Republican support for that. There are a lot of Republicans who would be against that.
Definitely, and we need to primary every one of them.
But you're seeing this across the entire U.S. right now. You're seeing it in Houston. You're seeing it. There's announcements for it tomorrow in Tampa, I believe. I've seen reports of D.C. where things are.
Can you show me the Tampa one? I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
you.
Yeah. Let me go look for it.
Thank you.
Are you looking to find out where not to go?
As long as it's not in my neighborhood, I'm good. And
I'd love to see them try in Tampa. I'd love to see. Hopefully, DeSantis grows a pair and actually repels them. There's no problem there.
As long as they don't do it in Tampa, July 11th, I'll be okay.
I can with Kevin. You got to come to the next James O'Keefe party we're gonna have down there.
I'll be there for sure. I got to book it tomorrow. Guys, do me a favor and hit. Oh, actually, nope. That's the wrong show where I tell you to hit the thumbs up button. That's my Rumble show, which you can catch tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. Rumble.com/LFATV. We've been going for about 3.5 hours now, and it's 1:15 on the East Coast. And I got to be honest with you, I'm kind of dying here. So, guys, follow everybody on stage that you liked. Please consider subscribing to my X page. I hate to do this pitch, but I am not a Democrat and cannot take in 501c3 dollars. So if you guys like the work that we do here, subscribe to your favorite content creators. Go subscribe to Myron's podcast. At the very least, you will laugh your ass off when he makes stupid people look stupid, which is always fun. Good stuff, guys. As always, Michael Casey, Kate, we're gonna wrap. But you guys want the last word real quick? Also, once again, Myron Jordan, thank you so much for coming in and helping get my first space ever. Huge numbers. So I really do appreciate that, guys.
No worries, man. Any way we can help, man. And thanks for having me on. I'm gonna take off. You guys keep going. All right.
All right.
Thanks, Myron.
Have a good night, man.
Guys.
Thank you.
Michael Casey, what do you got?
Well, this was a lot of fun, Kevin. This was your first space. And it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for having me co-host. This is really one of my first spaces too as a co-host. So, Diligent never lets me co-host, but you gave me the free reins this time, so I appreciate that. So you let me go unleashed. No, but thank you. This was a lot of fun. Thanks everybody for joining in. It's wow, we're already really at 1,200 still right now, like 1 a.m. That's pretty good. But it's a lot of fun. Thanks for joining. Follow Kevin, follow Kate, follow everyone up here, and thanks for joining. We'll definitely do a lot more of these, hopefully, Kevin.
Thank you, Darkwatch. Brendan S. Thank you so much, Brendan S. Yeah, I read that to the room a few minutes ago, Brendan. I was like, man, they backed out. They had their back. Now they saw what was going on. They backed out. Eventually they thin out and eventually they leave.
Thanks, Katie girl, by the way. And appreciate you guys being with the stream.
Huh? I haven't seen it in a while. What's up? Right? Oh, yeah.
There's a video.
Yeah.
I just saw a video from Omoye Scootercaster of people smashing windows at LAPD headquarters.
I don't remember either. Did you say what's up there? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. At the blood party.
I just posted a link to Omoye Scootercaster at Scootercaster NY has a video of people smashing windows in downtown LA at the police headquarters.
You were driving or on foot? I'm exhausted, bro. Last night I did 12 hours on foot, pretty much. Not 12, Compton. I didn't do 12 hours on foot. I did like, I don't know, 8 or 10. Probably, maybe like 8. And then I drove around. I was exhausted.
The horns have been crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, Craig Blanton said some channel was showing people breaking windows in a building. Maybe that was the one. Maybe that was the police building.
They were flamed up. It was like the Waymo cars were on fire, and people were calling them in, so they requested them, and then the people were burning. Huh? Group. Let's go check these guys out. Sorry about that. Crowds coming in from behind over here. Oh, they're moving. Moving for. There's a small crowd over here on the corner of Spring and Chavez, North Spring Street and Chavez. It looks like that's pretty much the last of the crowd.
Look at this. Again, downtown LA has been declared an unlawful assembly.
Pick a side, pick a side.
Pick a side. The press needs to pick a
Leave the
side.
area, get out of here.
Leave the area. Hey, thanks, Sober 189. Thank you. Look at all the horses and the officers. This is a huge police presence here. Huge. Enormous. Look at this. Oh, look at this, look at this, look at this. What's happening? Great work by AXN News. Wow. Those people, they're just making, I think they want those people to leave. Is it those people right there? Where are they going?
Oh my God.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. Look at this. AXN News. Downtown LA. Amazing coverage from AXN News, I gotta say. You can subscribe to AXN News on YouTube at AXN News.
Oh damn, they fucked up these cop cars.
Oh, people messed up, people damaged the cop cars, I guess. The crowd? Yeah, I am paying AXN for the stream, but I really appreciate it. It's awesome. Great work. They slashed tires, they said?
They
A bunch of
tires.
They slashed the tires of cop cars. Look at that.
They slashed
Damaged
tires. They shattered a lot of the glass.
Wow. Wow. Look at that, they're punching out the windshield.
Well, they broke out
Wow.
the glass here. They're trying to kick it out so they can drive away.
Hear that? They're trying to kick out the glass so they can drive away. Crazy, 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 crazy. They're smashing their own windshield so they can drive away. Thank you, Mr. Whitelie. Is incredible. Mr. Whitelie and switch the channel.
Get back!
Hold on.
Get back that way!
Mr. Whitelie, switch the channel. Captain Jerry Donnelly, Rasta, Pirate, Trey Ace, Jennifer Gilly, Gary Baines, Advice from Granny, Calvin Richard, M.H., thank you. Justin Fons. Also, Peter Poon. Thank you. And also, Eric Anderson. Thank you. This is AXN News. Incredible footage. Those police were, he said, getting their windshield that had been broken by protesters out so they could drive the car. Oopsie, hold on. I want to post a link to AXN's channel again. Because AXN News does such a good job.
So they broke out
if you want to...
for a bunch of cop cars while they were over there. They came back. They had got to... They left the cars unattended. They broke out the glass on this one, so the LAPD's breaking it out so they can drive away, I guess. And they also said they slashed some of the tires of the other cars back here. Caught him slipping. We're on Cesar Chavez and New High Street, or North Spring Street. This is where North Spring Street starts. Cesar Chavez and Spring.
Am I a little behind? I don't know if I'm behind. Am I behind by a few seconds on AXN stream? Did it somehow get paused for a second? I'll make sure I'm live. Oh, it's right there. Hold on. Now there's no audio. Did he lose his audio for a second? Hold on. Pause. Looks like he lost the audio for a second. Zelgeth thinks the police should not have left the cars unattended. I can't speak to that. I don't know. It's an interesting... I don't know if there's anything they could have done that they would have been expected to do to protect the cars better. Thank you, Spy Waffle and TT Spin. Spy Waffle, TT Spin, WebTech Simplified. Thank you. Who says it's safe for them to drive without a windshield? I assume if they're doing it is. Maybe they're just trying to get it back to the station or something. 8/1972/7000. That's really kind of you. 8/1972/7000. Thanks so much. Again, I am paying AXN for using their stream, but yeah, I really appreciate them letting me do it. Do you know where everybody's at?
Where you at? Down here. They were. I need to get another charger, dude. All my devices are down.
Okay, ABC7 is showing. Are they showing somebody going into a store on ABC7? ABC7 on YouTube. What am I looking at? I'm looking at an overhead shot. Um, I don't even know where it is. ABC7 has it's not a big crowd. It's a few people. It's like 4 or 5 people I'm seeing. Are they in a store or something? It looks like people might be looting something on ABC7 on YouTube. Hold on, let me take a second here and see if I can figure this out. ABC7 on YouTube.
I got 3 devices to charge here. I gotta charge my stabilizer, my camera, and my phone. Sit tight. I gotta plug them all in.
I'm sorry, I got muted. Hey, ABC7 was showing what appeared to be some people looting, a smaller group of people looting 618 Broadway, 618 South Broadway. And then police have pulled up, about 5 police cars pulled up on the store where people appeared to be looting.
There.
618 South Broadway.
And that car. I had it on mute.
There is a. There's like a Jordan store. Are they in the Jordan store? What is that? Or I don't know what that is.
I thought it was gonna be a firework, so I had to get up real quick.
Are they? Some people are saying they're looting shoes. Jordan flagship store. Jordan flag, maybe, possibly. But then police, it looked like some people were maybe looting, and then police pulled up there. So that would be a Nike store with Jordans in it? Is that the idea? Anyways, they're not showing it anymore, but
Someone's throwing the bottle.
looked like, yeah, as James, our viewer, said, there's some people looting there, and then cops showed up. That's what it looked like to me. Now, Fox went away from their shot. Did they? Yeah, Fox went away from their helicopter shot. Okay, ABC7 went back to their helicopter shot. They're showing a bunch of people still on. Oh, no, that's from before. Fox is not. ABC7 is not showing their helicopter shot. They're showing video from earlier. A quick thank you to Uncle Lester Cam.
Fireworks. Fireworks coming in.
And Predator Exposure W. Yeah, as Uncle Lester Cam says, we saw on the AXN stream, we saw people spray painting a bus, or I guess it's called tagging a bus, painting on the bus, a flyaway bus. We saw it on the stream.
It looks like half of them are just recording. Yeah.
KTLA.com does have a helicopter shot of
I don't even know where they're coming
downtown.
from. Where are the fireworks coming from over there, from over here? A helicopter said you want to play? It sounded like a video game.
Thank you, Phil's Mod Squad. Thank you, Phil's Mod Squad and Spy Waffle.
So we're on the Spring and Cesar Chavez. They're bringing in backup. They're taking fireworks.
Thanks to Steve Bolick as well.
If I was you, I'd start running. Because these guys are going to start something or do something. I don't know where the fireworks are coming from. I don't think they're coming from across the street. I don't think they're coming from across the street because I think if they would have seen them throw it, they would have let off a bunch of rounds. It might be from the passing cars. Comes back up.
So there did appear to be looting at, looked like the Jordan flagship store, perhaps. Fireworks. More fireworks.
And you still want the guys on the card, right? Yeah. We're going to see if we can move the boat back here.
AXN News doing a fantastic
They
job.
ran into some buildings on Broadway. Broadway is the next street, not this light, the next light.
See, Broadway is where the looting was, appeared to be. So maybe they were talking about that.
It's getting real in the field. I guess the fireworks are coming from up the street that way, to Broadway from up the hill, I think. They're definitely not coming from where I'm from. They're not coming from this way, and I assume weren't coming from across the street. Thank you. Appreciate it. A little bit more over there. We're gonna sit right here on this bench like Forrest Gump for a little bit. Get our rest on for a little bit. It's been a long night.
ABC7 has a helicopter shot. KCAL has a helicopter shot.
Did you guys see the cop cars? Right there at that corner, when they came this way, they left the cop
Yeah,
cars.
one of
They
the
fucked them
I'm
up.
looking at a helicopter
just
shot
like
right
20
now.
minutes ago.
I am seeing a helicopter shot right now. Which one is this from? CBS or something? But it is showing the Jordan store that apparently was looted.
And they even slashed some of their tires.
I think it's KCBS, but they're showing police outside of that Jordan flagship store on Broadway that looks like it was looted. ABC7 is showing somebody lighting off a bunch of fireworks. Bird Nerd says AXN is always right on the spot. He is amazing, doing amazing work. Thank you, Tonya Bologna. Tonya Bologna, thank you.
I can't remember if it was from the helicopter from one of their radios that they ran into a spot on Broadway. Probably a parking garage on Broadway, which is that way. Next street up. Hey, thanks everybody for the super chats. You know, I could probably read them now that I'm here to stop. We can't go anywhere but stay here, so we're gonna chill here for a minute and see what happens.
Thanks, by the way, so much to AT symbol hashtag. That's very kind of you. AT symbol hashtag. Thanks so much. Very much appreciated. Oh, police took off. They're going somewhere else. Oh, there's a fire. What is this? Hey, ABC7 is showing something on fire. ABC7 is showing something on fire at Jackson Street and Center Street. Look at ABC7 on YouTube. Is that a vehicle on fire? ABC7 YouTube. Is it a bus? Is it a van? Is it a police vehicle? A car of some sort? ABC7 is something on fire. I think it might be a vehicle.
Damn, there's been a lot too. Oh goddamn! Hey, thank you guys. Jillian, thank you for becoming a member. RS70, thank you for the super chat. RS70UGAC. Danny Finch, thank you for that super chat.
AZ Intel posted some footage of the Jordan store looting.
Did you hear that?
I'll post a link in the chat.
Are you guys hearing that from the helicopter? I've never, I've never heard the helicopter like talk to people, clown them like that. You know, they're pissed. He said, he said, you know that car? I think he said the black car with the black and white license plate. I'm coming to your house at 4 in the morning. He's like, I got license plates. I got both license plates. And then he was saying, I see you guys. See you guys trying to hide? I can see you. How could I do it? Like,
Wow.
because they got the flare on the. Like, I can see you. How could I do that? You're hiding behind walls, but I can see you. Look at you. He said he's coming to his house at 4 in the morning.
Again, ABC7 and another overhead shot, CBS helicopter shot, are showing, I think it's a vehicle on fire at Jackson Street and Center Street, Central City East.
And make sure you guys slide it all the way to the right. And make sure, because if I buffer, you buffer, sometimes the stream doesn't update to the live part. So make sure you slide that all the way to the right to make sure you're at the live point of the stream. Also, hit that little gear button and you could change the settings to 1080p. Make sure you're at 1080p. That's the highest resolution I stream at least today, because I didn't want to lose the connection. Sometimes I stream like in 2K, but para mí.
Yeah.
But not tonight, because it uses up more bandwidth, and when there's like network congestion, especially in these areas, I'm assuming that the connection's been decent tonight, but don't complain if it buffers a lot or it pixelates. I mean, there's just a shitload of people on the network in one spot.
I posted a photo in the chat.
Where was
LA
I?
Scanner took a screen grab of a photo, and I posted in the chat of the car on fire at Jackson Street and Center Street downtown. Yeah, I've been posting some videos and stuff and photos on my X account, at Lookner on X. You can check that out for some of the different things. I can't just show them on here because I don't have the rights to them, but I can repost them there.
Danny Finch, thank you for the super chat. Aham, thank you for the super chat. Sean C, thank you for that super chat. Sorry, man, I'm not going to read the messages. There's too many, but thank you. Joanne, thank you. Carl, Mr. Pilot Flyby, thank you. Christy Harwell, All Gone Wrong, Nick Sondy, The Thought Police, Zachary Joseph Rosenhart, Skywatcher, Dago Lopez, Judge Bread, The Thought Police, Miscellaneous, Christina Wright, Danny Finch, Zachary Joseph Rosehart, IMC McGinnis, Walt W. Witt, Mystery Seeker, Gain Stage, What Traffic, The Thought Police again, Sonny Van Shark, Heather N, Julie B, Roberto, The Dude, Miss Jen X, Phil Lara Joy, Lara Giotti.
Okay, yeah, this video, I am paying AX, just to be clear, I am paying AXN News to show his stream on my stream. I really appreciate it. I will be paying AXN News to do so. I messaged with him earlier today. That was very nice of him, letting me use his stream.